All right. Okay, I think most of you are here already. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our class. Okay, so this week will be our last class that we will meet each other. So I would like to show my PowerPoint slide first. Okay, all right. So our course, right, English for academic writing. Now here we come to the last week, which is week 6, about abstract writing, right? So we have talking about the research writing, paragraph, essay, and then is sections of the research writing, literature review, which I showed you a lot of tools last week. And then for this week, we will be talking about abstract writing. Abstract, right? So let's see here, week 6, abstract writing. First thing is, what is abstract, right? So I think most of you might commonly heard it. I need to write an abstract, right? And you might thinking about abstract is something that not very long, like very short, right? Like a summaries of your research paper, right? So that is correct, right? What is an abstract? Okay, so firstly, an abstract, right, is a short summary of your paper. So the thing is, mostly abstract is just like one A4 paper, like one page. So you need to look through your research in each part, right, in each chapter, and you need to summarize it, and you make it a connection, right, to become maybe one paragraph, right? So when the reader come to read your abstract, they can directly know what are you going to do, right? What is it about in your research, right? So just like a short summary. So let's see here, right? So abstract will explain the main point, right? What do you want to do? What do you want to discover, right? So next part is include the most important details, right? It's showing the details, right? How you collect the data or what is the result. So you should not include the minor information, right? So you just choose the most important one, right, to summarize. So it's just a short paragraph, only one paragraph, okay? 150 to 250 words, right? So just remind that you need to be careful. I would say, is it fixed to be this amount? I think it's depend on the sometimes, right? It depends on the journal that you want to publish. Okay, some journal might request only until 150 words. So it is very difficult to summarize everything in such a short paragraph, but you need to do it, right? So you must show the important part of your research only. Okay, so it's very important thing to write an abstract, because most of the time when you want to publish your research paper, the publisher or the journal, right, they might asking you to submit the abstract first, right? So if they're interested in your paper, I mean in your abstract, they will request for the full paper. That's why it's important that you need to write an abstract in short paragraph with the most important thing of your paper, right? So for today, I will give you some tips that might help you to find what is it in your research paper, and then you just need to take it and then put in your abstract, right? So the first thing I would like to see this question, right? Why do we need an abstract, right? So some people say, oh, abstract is long, it's so long, right? Because you don't know how to write it to become short, right? Some people might think, is it in introductions of the paper? No, but actually it's not, right? It's just a summaries of your whole paper, right? So why do we need an abstract, right? The first thing, right, you have an abstract to help the readers to understand your whole paper, your idea, right? What is your idea about this research, right? And then the next one, allow them to decide, right, if they will read your paper. So this is an important thing that I want to mention to you, right? So most of the the publisher, right, or the editor, right, they will just read your abstract, and if it's not interesting, they will just don't want to read your whole paper or publish your work. So that's why you need to come up with something that uh, attract, right? And then so the abstract also prepare reader for information ahead. It means that to let them know what is going to be in your research, right? And then you help the readers remember information after they read, right? So the most important thing in the abstract will be questions and result, right? So when the reader go through the research paper, so they can see, is it really uh like really happened, right, from what you have found, like that. So it's the thing that helping the reader, right, to track your research paper, right? So this is why we need an abstract. I would say if you think on the other way, if you are the reader, when you want to looking for uh, some research paper uh, uh, as your literature review, right? You want to include some of the key terms, or some of the the methodology from the other writer to your paper. It is the same, right? You need to go to read the abstract. So if you read the abstract and you think it's related with your work, so you will read their whole research, and then you get some of the point from there. But the thing is, if you think as you are the reader, it's the same, right? It's make you make decision, like, should I continue read this paper, or should I don't not reading it because it's not related? So that's what is the importance of an abstract, right? Okay, and is it saving time for the reader, right? To get through your research, right? Then the next part, right? When do you need to write an abstract? Right, very good question, right? So the previous question, why do we need, then when, right? So when should we write it, right? So the first thing, right, is thesis or dissertation, right? As maybe you need to graduate, right? You need it, right? Or maybe you need to write for article for a journal, right? Right? You want to publish your work, so you need to write an abstract, right? Or research grant application, proposal for academic conference paper. So these kind of things, right? You need to write an abstract, right? So most of the thing, for example, in the conference, they might asking you, oh, can you just write, submit an abstract of your work, maybe 100 to 150 words, which is very short. So they can make decision whether they want you to join their conference, to present your paper or not, right? So this is what happened, the thing that we need to do, right? Because I don't see any other reason if we don't, uh, if you want to write an abstract, we need to do this kind of thing like when we need it, right? It's not, I don't know, maybe some of the people might say, oh, I enjoy writing a research or an abstract, so I just write it whenever I want, right? Okay, but most of the time, yeah, you can see people write it in some reason, so this might be some of the reason that they want to write, right? Okay, so next part, right, I would like to go into the details of an abstract, right? So there are two types of an abstract that you might see here, right? The first one we call as descriptive, okay? Descriptive is something you describe something, what you do, right, in your research paper and what you found. So it's very, very short, right? It's just an outline of an essay. It's shorter than informative abstract, as I show you here, right? Next, I will show you an example. So it's very short, just like maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs, just showing what what you want to find and what you found out, the result only, right? And then next part will be informative. Most of the abstract that commonly we see will be informative, right? So it's provide all key agreement and conclusion, explain background, right? Detail of the methods, clarify result, and then conclusions. So the informative will be our style to write, okay, an abstract most of the time, right? But can you write an descriptive? Yeah, sure, right? But because in descriptive it will be very short, right? So most of the time it will not talking details about methodology, right? And conclusion, right? Will be only the questions and then the result, right? So this is an example of descriptive, right? Very short paragraph only. So they're talking about this article examines the 1850 Agreement of Human Rights by Mary Tails and Jennifer Carey. It's used metaphor theories. So this is just a short term telling about methodology, what they use, right? And then they having the result, right, showing, and then final article argues that, man, right? So this is what happened, just showing about methodology they use and then the result of it, right? Very short. It's called as descriptive, right? Just what you just want to study some of the theory, right? This might be like use descriptive on your article, right? Next part, how about informative, right? Informative will be something that we are commonly use. So it will be quite long paragraph here, right? So this will be mentioned about, right? So in the beginning, might be talking about the background, why you want to do this study, right? And then talking about methodology, samples, and conclusion, and the result, right? So it's like a long paragraph. So informative will be longer, like the term, like inform, right? Information, right? Okay, so before we move on, right? I would like you to read this paragraph, this short paragraph, right? And can you tell me this short paragraph, is it descriptive or informative? I will give you time, maybe 2 to 5 minutes. If anyone can share with me, right? You might type in the chat, okay? D, maybe you can type the short term, right? D as descriptive, right? And I as and informative, okay? Right? Okay, I'll give you about 5 minutes here. We have time, right? So can you go through this paragraph and can you tell me, is it descriptive or informative? Okay. Any idea? If you think it's descriptive, right, please type D on the chat, right? If you think it's informative, please type I on the chat. All right, some of you share already. Anyone else want to share? Maybe some of you still reading this paragraph, right? Right? Okay. Should I tell you the answer? Maybe you're still reading, right? But it's okay. All right. So for this, right, one of you answer me already in the chat, right? Very good, correct? So it is D, right? D as descriptive, right? Why this isn't descriptive, right? So it's descriptive is describing, right? So in this paragraph, you can see how the writer writing first they're exploring, then show what is it, right? And then show how they do, right? So this is what is happened, right? And I present their perceptions, right? So this describing what they do, right? In this paragraph might be long, right? Because you can see the writer talking in the detail of each step, what he first do, right? And then the result. Okay. Right, very good. Next part. So here we go. It's a very long, right? Very long paragraph, right? Can you guess is descriptive or informative? Ah, or I. You think D or I? Why very fast, right? Right? Descriptive will be shorter than informative, sorry. So this is an informative. As you can see here, right? It's very long paragraph, right? And then you can see the study, investigate, right? Talking about an interview methodology, right? And then talking about the result, right? Even talking on the findings, right? So it is an informative, right? Will be go into the details of each part of your uh research paper. Okay. Okay, so here come. There are two types of abstract, all right, that you have seen. Now let's we go to the next part. We're talking about the part of an abstract, right? So in just one short paragraph, what should we include in there? Right? What should we include in there? Right? Both in the descriptive and informative, right? So I will show you here, right? In part of an abstract, I write in a short term here, RPPMRI, right? Okay, so let me go through in each alphabet, right? The first one is R, research, right? So in this part is about why you're doing the research. You might take mm, you might take this part, okay, from your introductions, right? From your introductions, because mostly in your introductions, it will show why do you want to do this research. So that is the reason, right? You just take it from there. Then the next part will be P, right? P stand for problems and questions of research, right? So here, or including in your introduction part, right? You just take the problems and questions of your research. Just put it in your abstract. Next, P, right? Next P is point or thesis of your article, right? So what is the thesis of your article, right? This one will show, right? Also in your chapter 1, right? Okay, right? So why you need to do it, or you might mention this one in chapter 2. I think it's depend on you also, right? And then M, next one. M stand for methodology. So you're telling about the method, how you collect the data, right? And R will be the result and finding. Okay, talking about what you found, right? And last one will be implication, right? Any suggestions, right, for further studies. Okay, so this all will be included in your abstract, right? So in your informative, you will talking each part very clear, right? In some part, right? Okay. Some of the articles include, they might not include all of these, right? So it's depend, right? It depends. But I might suggest if you can follow this, right? It will be better in your abstract, right? Especially for the reader, they can know what is the reason behind why you do this research, and then what you found, right? So if you can follow this will be better, right? Okay, next part I would like to talk in the detail of your research. So why is it important, right? Should why do you do this research, right? So is it important now, right? Most of you might have read like some of the research paper is like really up to date, you know. I would give you example when COVID-19 happened. Most of the researcher writing the paper about COVID-19 right? What do they affect, right? In each part, right? Maybe affect in education, affect in the business, right? So when something happened like pandemic, so the research in that time, right, is very important, right? So most of the people might interesting in the work that are up to date, right? Up to date, up to the situation, right? The things that happen now, right? Or maybe now most of uh, new generations, right? Or maybe about technology, AIs, right? And a lot of tools and website that we use, they affect in which part of the sections, right? Example, business or maybe education, maybe finance, right? So that kind of research will be like on demand, right? People want to read it, right? So that is the thing that you need to talking about, right? That's why when you do the research, you might need to consider, right? That is it needed now? Is it important now? Or is it already something old, right? People don't read, right? The publisher might not want your paper in their journal, right? Because it's not very interesting. So next part P, right, stand for problems or question your research will answer or resolve, right? So in this part, you just mention about the problems, right, and the scope of your research, right? Okay, so you might have 2, 3 questions. You just mention in there what you want to find, right? And then what is it that you want to find out, right? Next part, the point or thesis of your essay, right? So in this part, it's talking about the key argument of your essay. The thing is, this part is a little bit hard, but if you have your paper complete, right, it might be easy. So it's just like talking about your, is it your paper, is it your research is argued of some other researcher, right? For example, researcher A do this methodology, right? So if you using their methodology, but you use different samples, is it different? So in this point, it's just like mention about the thing that contradict or something that not commonly happen, and you think that it's will show some different point in your research, right? So you can mention in here, right? Okay, right. So I will show you example, right? Later you can see what is it. This is of your essay, right? Okay, next part M, right? Method you use. Okay, in this one we'll be talking about methodology, how you collect data, right? Who is your samples, or if you using the other kind of experiments, you just need to telling, right, what kind, right, of the method you use, right? As I mentioned here, right? Maybe for the science, you might use experiment process, right? Okay, social science, maybe data collecting, writing theory use, right? Maybe you collect data by questionnaire, interview, right? So about humanities, right? Maybe you use interpretation methods. Right? So these are the things that you need to mention on your articles. Okay, the next part are, right, will be result and finding. Okay, so you tell what you found. The main important thing, right? So I would say in this part, right, if actually if you found it, you need to mention something that related with your questions. Is it answer your research questions? If yes, what it is, right? So that what is mentioned here, the result that you need to put it in here, right? And then next part is implication, right? So let's see here. How does your research extend to knowledge base or field, right? How can it extend it, right? If other people want to continue your research, is it possible, right? Can you expand, right? And then you might talking about the possibility in the future, or maybe you have some suggestions or some limitations or anything, right? You might mention in here, right? As implication here. You can mention this in your in your articles also, right? So that is the part of an abstract. Okay, right? Here I would like to show you. Let's we practice, right? Let's we see some of the abstract. Okay, so what we need to do, right? We need to identify different parts of abstract by color coding, right? The blue one means reasons, right? Why do you do? Okay. The red one means points or thesis of your research, right? The purple means method or methodology, and gray will be implication, right? Okay, so let me see here. In the first page that I opened, because the article is quite long, so to identify this, I need to put it into two PowerPoint slides. So in the first PowerPoint slide, you can identify reason, problems, right? Thesis, method, and research and findings, if possible, right? Okay, okay. So here we go. Right. This is the first, right? First sentence, second, third, right? I will counting the paragraph for you here, right? So I would like you to read through this quite long paragraph, okay? Right? And identify, okay, each part, right? Reason, problems, thesis, method, right? Research finding and implication. So RPPMRI, okay? Right? Try to find here. RPPMRI. Right. Okay, I will give you time to read it here as I writing the number of the sentences here. So you can helping me identify from which sentence, I mean which line until which line is reason, which line until which line is problems, right? Okay. Right. So here in this slide will be 16 lines. Right? If you possibly can find any of it, right? You might writing, for example, oh, teacher, I can find reason, right? Reason will be on, this is just an example, okay? Maybe line 1 to line 2 only, right? So you can just type it here like this. R is 1 to 2, P is 3 to 4, right? P and another P, right, is 6 to 10, for example. Okay, right? Okay, I will give you time here, right? Just take time. So you can see here what is it will be included in the articles. So not article, in the abstract, sorry. So later on, when you need to write an abstract, you will just need to go through in each chapter of your research, and you just take it, the important part of it, and put it in here, right? Okay, right? Okay, I will just give you time here. You can take your time to read through and find out what it is. Okay, I I will just give you maybe about 5 minutes first. Okay, let's see how much we can do. Can you get any answer? You might feel, oh, teacher, this is a long paragraph. I need more time, right? Okay, it's okay, right? As you can read through here, you can see it's a lot of things have mentioned in here, right? So this is so EMRI here, right? So let's receive the first one, right? Sorry, the first one R, right, stand for the reason, right? So here will be the right in the blue color, right? The 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 reason why. Am I correct? Right. Problem. Okay. So here is the reason the COVID-19. So it's the this part, okay, it will not be a P. It will not be a first P, okay? The first P is problem and questions. And this is point or thesis. Right? So I highlight it in the red one. This is the various studies has studied, but they didn't study exact study in some issue. So the writer want to study on that part, right? What word is it? Be different from the others. That's what the thing is. Suggest, right? A need samples, right? Or maybe your sample amount is too small in a small right? All right, I'm back. Sorry. I think because my internet connection is not that good today. Okay, I join you again. And I'll share you again. All right, sorry. Okay, right. So here I just before so I would like to show you here as the suggestions, the finding, right? So in your finding, you might mention about the limitation of your research or suggestion for the further researcher, right? What can it be done? So as you can see here, this is an example of an abstract. So uh, uh, you right, and you just need to take an important part of each is its chapter literature review mention on your it, right? So okay, so any questions so far? Do you have any questions? All right, okay. So if no questions, I would like to go to the next part, right? That I will talking about today, right? Um, and I I know this part, right? Abstract writing is not actually it's not really difficult. I would say because you just summarize each of the chapter of yours and then you just make it into one paragraph, right? But it's only need to make it interesting only, right? Okay, so for today, I would like to suggest, okay, some of the website that is useful for academic writing, right? I will show you here in my slide. Right, let me show you, right? You might screenshot or note down this website, right? But I will sending you this link, okay? So here I would say the useful website for academic writing, right? For the dictionaries, maybe you want to searching some of the vocabulary, you might using these two websites. So it's provide like with the sound, having collocations or useful paraphrasings, right? So you might go into this website, or maybe you want to use some of the synonyms. I think most of you might commonly use to this thesaurus, right? To search for the synonym or antonym, right? So it might make your research is not boring. If you use the same term repeatedly, your different term to make it more interesting, right? And the next part, right? You might go to this website for collocation, right? Academic face bank I mentioned already last week, and I already show you this website. But there is the other website that's very useful also, right? It's called Left and Right. I will show you how to use that website today. Next one about grammar, right? If you commonly heard like Grammarly or maybe the other website like Paper, right? Would rever not revertify the other, yeah, and the other website that I mentioned before, you can use it here, right? And for the reference, right? Maybe you can go to Cite This For Me to help you to write the reference, right? And then right, so it's help you to check your reference, put name of the book or journal, right? Correctly, okay? Plagiarism, right? You might go to this. And if you want to using the graph or the chart, right? You might go through this website to have to put on your research paper, right? So this is just some of the example, but actually there are a lot of some other website that very useful. So right, I would share you some here, right? And but if you can, what is it? Academic Face Bank, right? This one we already go to the website last week, right? Because it's also useful for your literature review, grammar, right? Grammarly, or this one is for reference, actually Zoom checker, right? And then last one will be graph and chart, right? Okay, right. Now, for today, I would like to show you this website we call Read and Write. I don't know have anyone have heard of it, but it is similar, more function to it, right? So if you can see here, let's see part of it, right? So the important part, right? Academic Face Bank will be similar to the Academic Face Bank that I showed you last week, right? So you can go through for the importance of topic, like you mentioned here, which will show here, right? What kind of phrase you can use in your introductions, right? So if you are not really good in English and you don't know what to write, you might come to this to check on it, right? Okay. Or you might typing some of your idea, right? Maybe introduction part, and then you click on get writing idea, right? It will show you the other phrases that you can use for your sentence, right? Next one will be paraphrasing tools. I think this one is some kind of fun things to do, right? So I would like to show you here. For example, I said I write a research, just sample, okay? For 10 years. So it takes such a long time, right? So here, you might check for academic proofread, right? If you click to academic proofread, they might check your grammar, right? What is it should be changed, right? To be better, right? So it said, oh, you should write. I have been writing a research paper for 10 years because it's already 10 years, right? You should not using in this term of grammatically is wrong, right? So you can use it here. Just take uh the what is it, the sentence or the paragraph of your research paper and you just drop it here, you check, right? Or you might use the word paraphrase, okay? So paraphrase here might provide you the options, right? There are a lot of options here. So for 10 years I write research papers, or I spent 10 years writing research, right? So this is what happened to paraphrase, right? Okay, so it's same meanings, but only the other way to describe it, right? And then next one will be word choice. Word choice it will provide the other terms. It actually is like synonyms, right? For example, this one, the word research, you might replace with the word investigation, right? So, yeah, you might read and recheck, is it this term you want to use it or not? So, paragraph of them to be mentioned on my page. To summarize, I want to use my own words, but I don't know what to think about it, right? So I just drop it here and I click word choice, something that I can change in the term, or maybe sometime I click the word like paraphrase, so that paragraph might change to the thing, having the other option for me. So later on in the right. So later on in plagiarism checkers, right? It will not say that I taking copy people works, right? So because I paraphrasing it. So that is example that I use in this website. Or you can use this website for plagiarism checker, right? You can just drop your file here, okay? Your the having paraphrase how many minor change, and you right, and you feeling you don't want, like I would say, if you can use this website to check your paper first, right? So you can fix your paper, you can edit it before you asking your colleague, your friends, or your professor to read it. It might be better because you can go through your paper once again, right? And edit it, right, by yourself, right? It's quite useful. Okay, so I mentioned this website for you. Okay, all right. Then the next one, I would like to mention you the other website here. This website, okay, it's talking about citation, right? So for these citations, you might go to check your paper, right? And then you drop it your work here, and then asking them to do citation, right, of your work, or you create a citation here, right? It can be also, right? And the next one will be this website. It's about plagiarism checker. Okay, you can drop your work here to check the plagiarism, right? But actually, left and right can do this all. So I think it's quite useful tools for this. Okay, right. So this is what I want to share with you, right? Uh, right. Some of you might feel like, yeah, something that you already know, or some of you might feeling it's new. So I hope that if you can, right, use this kind of tools, right, uh, it will be good for you also to do self-checking, right, before you send your research to your professor, or send your research or paper to the publisher, right? Okay, last but not least, any questions so far? All right. Okay, so I would like you to please go to. I would like you to please comment something that you already know, right? Here, so you feel and comment there, please. And have any questions? Right. No questions. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So please don't forget to go to the link to comment about these sections, right? You can talking any feels or how you like it, the course or not. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for attending this 6 week that we are together, and I hope you can gain something, and then you can right, very good. Right, you're welcome. So if you have any question, you can mention there in the Padlet, the link that I gave to you, right? I will be reply you in there also. Okay, right. So thank you so much, right? I what should I say? I hope, I wish you all, right? Can right, all of you, right, can pass the I don't know, is it the subjects or the thesis? I hope all of you can publish your thesis, right? Or right, successfully, okay? Right. I wish. Bye bye.